You've had a financial advisor for years with no major complaints, but lately your questions keep piling up about Social Security timing, RMDs, Medicare costs, or how much you can safely withdraw. And yet your advisor is still using the same investment focused playbook from over a decade ago. Now, this video walks through three reasons retirees fire their advisors they once trusted, and how to know if you should consider doing the same thing. Most retirees feel the ground shifting beneath them. The questions keeping them up at night aren't so much about growth, they're more about risk, income, and taxes. So, why does it feel like their advisor hasn't shifted with them, right? I had a client come to me and say, "Hey, we talked all about the portfolio, but there was really no support around the other major questions." And here's the issue. In your 40s and 50s, the main goal likely was growth, more savings, higher returns, better performance. Nothing wrong with that. But retirement really does flip, in my opinion, that script. Now the focus is much more on how you spend your money and how to do that with as little stress and tax drag as possible. And I'll submit this: if your advisor is still opening meetings with a generic market update and ending with performance charts, in my view, they're stuck in that old mindset. And that's not just a mismatch. I think it's a risk because the questions that matter most now, in my view, really have nothing to do with beating the market. Should you delay Social Security or claim early? Should you convert to Roth this year or wait? What's your plan for managing RMDs before they balloon your tax bill at 75? These are the kinds of decisions that shape your entire retirement. And if your advisor glosses over them, or worse, doesn't bring them up at all, that might be your cue. Now, in my experience, smart retirees, it's not that they mind paying for advice, they just want to feel like they're actually getting some. So, what do you do when your advisor's costs start to feel high, but the value feels vague? Right? I had a client say this experience, the investments were great. It's just I was paying them 25 grand a year, and every time we connected, it was about the market. Now, I get it. That 1% fee, it may have seemed reasonable when your portfolio was smaller, but now, after years of growth, it's not a few $1,000s anymore. It could be tens of thousands of dollars per year. And the real question becomes, for what? If your only point of contact, again, is a once a year investment focus, pull up the performance charts, here's how you did, it's not really a planning relationship. It's more of a reporting relationship, right? Because planning means connecting your investments, your income, your tax picture, your Medicare decisions, your estate plan, and it's showing you how those moving parts fit together. And it's giving you confidence that they're being coordinated on your behalf. But again, what if those things barely come up? Your advisor, this is my opinion, isn't proactively walking you through taxes, healthcare, legacy decisions. It's not really planning. I'd go as far as to say that's oversight. You know that portfolio focused advice can leave you exposed in these other areas: taxes, income, legacy planning. But what are the questions that you should be asking? Well, there's a link in the description where you can see your free retirement readiness score. It's 20 quick questions that will reveal your plan's strengths and weaknesses. It gives you your score right away, no email required. So go ahead and check it out. During your working years, a bad financial decision could often be corrected over time. But in retirement, some mistakes, unfortunately, are permanent and devastating. So, how do you know if your advisor is helping you to prevent them? I had a client come to me. They claimed Social Security at 62 because they saw they were eligible. Their advisor never offered any input. And unfortunately, this couple didn't realize that that meant their benefit was permanently reduced. Now, this is what makes retirement planning different. You can't just wait for the dust to settle and fix it later. A missed Roth conversion window could cost you thousands in avoidable taxes. A poor Social Security timing decision could mean leaving six figures of income on the table. And if you mismanage your RMDs, you could face IRS tax penalties or be forced to sell in a down market. And get this, these aren't abstract risks. They're real, they're permanent, and by the way, they're avoidable if someone is actually watching out for them. And I think this gets a little bit at the difference between a generalist and a retirement specialist, right? A generalist will talk about investments, be sort of good at everything. A specialist is going to be the one who does the deep dive and really helps you avoid some of these irreversible mistakes. So, what are smart retirees doing instead? Well, I'll tell you this, they're moving away from the old model, the one where the advisor manages your investments, gives you a high level review at the end of the year, and they're moving towards places that offer real coordination, which means your income plan, your tax strategy, your Medicare timeline, and your estate plan aren't separate conversations. They're integrated because, again, none of these things live in a vacuum, and a decision in one area affects all the others. Now, you just saw why so many retirees are outgrowing their old advisor, because today's retirement questions are about income, taxes, and timing, not just market performance. But what if your advisor isn't talking about Roth conversions when they could potentially save you hundreds of thousands over time? So, watch this next video where I walk through a real case study, a couple with $1.2 million, showing how smart timing on Roth conversions can potentially lower your tax bill and leave you significantly more in retirement.